If you have 6 months of expenses sitting in a savings account right now, you are quietly losing money every single second. The most repeated piece of financial advice in human history has officially become a wealth trap. For decades, we've been told that keeping half a year's worth of cash tucked away in a bank is the responsible choice, the safe choice. But in 2026, blind responsibility is financial suicide. Here's a reality check. A single dollar saved in a standard high-yield savings account in January 2021 is worth roughly 82 cents in real purchasing power today. You didn't spend it, you didn't lose it in the stock market, you just let the banking system quietly eat it alive. I'm not here to tell you that having a safety net is stupid. I'm here to tell you that the way you've been taught to build it is designed to keep you trapped in the middle class. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how the ultra-wealthy structure their safety nets and how you can replicate it before inflation finishes the job. The 6-month emergency fund rule didn't just appear out of thin air. It became mainstream in the 1990s and got completely turbocharged after the 2008 financial crash. Back then, millions of people lost their jobs overnight, credit lines froze, and banks collapsed. Having hard cash under the mattress wasn't just smart, it was survival. But that was nearly 2 decades ago. We are living in 2026, and the macroeconomic rules have been entirely rewritten. Think about this. Cumulative inflation in the United States since January 2020 has run well over 23%. That means if your emergency fund was a healthy $20,000 back then, you need exactly $24,600 today just to buy the exact same grocery basket, pay the same rent, and put the same gas in your car. Did your bank give you that extra $4,600? Not a chance. Most people still keep their emergency stash in basic checking or savings accounts, earning a pathetic 0.01%. Even the ones who thought they were smart and upgraded to a high-yield savings account are getting caught looking. Back in 2023, those high-yield accounts were paying around 4.5%, but as we move through mid-2026, those rates have steadily slid backwards, sitting somewhere between 3.8 and 4.2%. Meanwhile, real-world inflation is stubbornly holding around 3.1%. When you factor in the taxes you owe on that meager interest, your real return isn't just zero, it's negative. You aren't building a shield, you're funding a slow-motion leak. And here's the part that honestly bothers me. The institutional financial planners and celebrity influencers know this, but they keep preaching the 6-month rule because it's simple, it's easy to say in a 30-second clip. It sounds safe, but safe and effective are two different things. Let's look at how actual capital operates. People love to quote Warren Buffett when it comes to cash, and it's true. Berkshire Hathaway famously holds massive cash buffers, sometimes north of $30 billion. But notice the scale. Buffett doesn't keep 90% of his net worth sitting in a checking account waiting for a rainy day. That multi-billion-dollar pile is a tiny, deliberate slice of a massive empire. He doesn't hold cash because he's scared of an emergency. He holds it because liquidity is ammunition. It gives him the optionality to buy distressed assets when everyone else is panicking. The middle class treats cash savings as the ultimate destination. The wealthy treat cash as a temporary staging ground. Instead of a giant, stagnant pool of cash, high-net-worth individuals utilize what's called a tiered liquidity structure. It sounds complex, but it's remarkably simple. Think of your wealth as 3 distinct buckets. Bucket 1, immediate liquidity. This is your true emergency fund. It's small, usually just 1 to 2 months of bare minimum living expenses. It sits in a money market fund or a highly liquid account. It's accessible via debit card within 24 hours. No barriers, no friction. Bucket 2, the yield buffer. This holds another 2 to 3 months of expenses, but instead of sitting idle, it's deployed into ultra-short-term government securities, like 3-month U.S. Treasury bills. In 2026, these are yielding around 4.8%, significantly outpacing traditional savings accounts while carrying the exact same sovereign guarantee. It takes maybe 2 business days to liquidate, but it actively fights back against inflation. Bucket 3, defensive assets. This is where the rest of the traditional 6-month allocation goes. It's placed into highly liquid, low-volatility index funds, dividend-paying assets, or inflation-protected instruments. Money you could theoretically access if the world ended, but otherwise grows day in and day out. This structure allows your safety net to actually produce wealth while you sleep. The financial system doesn't teach you this in school because silent deposits are exactly how commercial banks make their fortunes. To understand why hoarding cash destroys a society's wealth, you only have to look at the global macro landscape. Take Japan. Japanese households are historically famous for their incredible discipline and massive savings rates, often hoarding 15 to 25% of their income in cash. For a long time, Western economists praised this. But look at the result. Japan suffered nearly 30 years of economic stagnation. The Nikkei 225 stock index took an agonizing 35 years just to recover its 1989 peak, finally doing so in 2024. If you followed the responsible advice and left your wealth in Japanese yen cash savings over that generation, your purchasing power was absolutely decimated on the global stage. Now look at Switzerland. The Swiss don't let their citizens make the cash hoarding mistake. Under their mandatory occupational pension system, the second pillar, funds legally cannot just sit in a vault. By law, they must be aggressively diversified into real-world, yield-generating assets. The system literally blocks citizens from letting their wealth decay in a standard bank account. And then there's Singapore. Singapore manages its national reserves through Temasek Holdings, one of the most sophisticated sovereign wealth funds on Earth, pulling in compound annual returns of roughly 14% over the last half-century. The Singaporean government doesn't have a standard emergency savings account. They possess an investment portfolio. But here is the catch. You don't live in Switzerland or Singapore. You live in an economy that forces you to navigate these brutal macroeconomic shifts completely on your own. There is no institutional guardrail protecting your cash from devaluation. If you choose the lazy route of letting 6 months of your life's work sit idle, the system wins and you lose. So why do we keep doing it? Why does the 6-month rule feel so comforting? Because of a powerful behavioral glitch called the money illusion. Your brain is hardwired to look at nominal numbers, not real value. When you open your banking app and see a clean, stationary $30,000 sitting there, it triggers a genuine psychological hit of dopamine and safety. The number isn't dropping, so your brain registers it as a secure fortress. It completely ignores the invisible tax of inflation that is shaving off the edges of that fortress every single day. The banking industry relies on this psychological glitch. When your deposits sit idle, banks turn around and lend that exact money out to commercial real estate developers or credit card users at 8%, 12%, or 20% interest. They pay you a microscopic fraction and pocket the spread. This trap becomes even more dangerous the more money you make. High earners are uniquely vulnerable here. Imagine an executive making $200,000 a year in a major US city. Naturally, they scale their emergency fund to match their lifestyle, meaning they have roughly $100,000 sitting in cash. At current 2026 inflation and adjusted tax rates, that massive pile of cash is bleeding anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 annually in lost real returns. It's a silent tax on their safety. Meanwhile, a disciplined professional earning $60,000 a year with a leaner, tiered allocation structure is actually compounding their net worth faster in percentage terms. This is why high income rarely correlates directly with massive net worth. Income doesn't make you wealthy. Your deployment strategy does. Let's stop talking about the problem and build the actual framework for 2026. If you currently have zero savings, your immediate priority is to build a baseline cushion. Financial volatility is real, and having no protection is a recipe for disaster. But once you pass the baseline, the strategy must evolve. Here is how you execute the modern three-bucket safety net. First, calculate your true absolute survival expenses per month. Not your fun budget, just rent, basic food, utilities, and debt minimums. Let's assume that number is $4,000 a month. Instead of dumping $24,000 into a savings account, you segment it. Step 1. Put exactly $4,000 to $8,000, 1 to 2 months, into a high-yield savings account or a premium money market fund. This is your immediate cash break glass in case of emergency fund. Step 2. Take the next $8,000 to $12,000 and open an account directly at treasury.gov or through your existing brokerage. Buy rolling 3-month U.S. Treasury bills. Right now in 2026, they're yielding around 4.8%. They are entirely state and local tax exempt, meaning you keep more of what you earn compared to an HYSA. Every 90 days they mature, giving you constant liquidity if you need to pull out cash. Step 3. Take the final $8,000 that would have been rotting in cash and put it to work. Allocate it into a broad market index fund, a low beta dividend ETF, or short duration corporate bonds. Look at the math over a 10-year horizon. Left in a standard account, that final $8,000 loses significant purchasing power. But invested at a conservative 7% average market return, that same $8,000 transforms into roughly $15,700. That single adjustment secures you an extra $7,700 for doing absolutely nothing differently. When you multiply that exact logic across your entire lifetime of saving, you instantly see why the gap between traditional middle-class savers and real wealth builders keeps expanding, even when they bring home the exact same salary. Before we wrap up, we have to address the biggest elephant in the room: home equity. A massive percentage of the population looks at the equity in their primary residence and treats it as their ultimate safety net. They see their home value ticking up on real estate apps and think they're perfectly insulated. But equity is an illusion of liquidity. If an actual emergency strikes, if you lose your business or face a massive medical event, you cannot buy groceries with a brick from your chimney. To get that cash out, you need a HELOC, a cash-out refinance, or you have to sell the asset entirely. In the 2026 credit market, where mortgage rates are stubbornly sitting near historic highs, refinancing or pulling out equity is an incredibly expensive, slow process that can take months. Having $100,000 locked inside a house and only $2,000 accessible in cash isn't financial security, it's a trap. As structural costs rise, millions of homeowners in their 30s and 40s are discovering this reality the hard way. Their net worth looks great on paper, but their daily lives feel incredibly restricted. They followed the old script, and the old script ran out of pages. The legacy 6-month emergency fund rule isn't flawed because saving is bad. It's flawed because it was engineered for a completely different world, a world with predictable inflation, stable corporate careers, and basic financial tools. We don't live in that world anymore. We live in a fast-moving, high-inflation environment where elite investment tools are accessible directly from your phone. The leverage has shifted. The question isn't whether you can afford to change your financial playbook. The question is whether you can afford to keep running the old one. But oversaving isn't the only trap catching the middle class off guard right now. In fact, high earners are making an even bigger mistake by chasing big salaries instead of acquiring real, tangible assets. To understand exactly how that trap operates and how to break free from it, click on this video right here where we break down the high salary illusion. See you there.